Hey everybody, welcome back to the arena. This is MD, joined by Kobe, and once again, an amazing guest that we'll get into. This is episode number 10. Me forgetting the last one was 9 was a joke. Things are just flying in such a fun way. Before we jump into the conversation, I want to thank everybody who continue to listen and praise and shout feedback to us. So thank you to you all. Over to you, Kobe.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Glad to be back. Glad to have this conversation. And quickly, thank you all again for the support, for the feedback. We love it. We love you guys, so thank you. The guy sitting to my right is Wes Patterson. I actually met Wes just a few days ago. I've seen him Wes is a personal trainer amongst a bunch of other things that he can get into at Lifetime, the gym I go to. And I thought he'd be kind of an interesting conversation. So in getting to know him, I think it's going to be really cool to have this conversation, really cool for you guys to listen to it. So without further ado, Wes Patterson, why don't you just provide a little bit of background on yourself, kind of your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys for listening. And we're just going to jump right into it. So started my journey in 2014. You know, I was overweight. I was 260, 275, I believe. And I had a rough journey. So I've always wanted to be in shape. You know, just never really knew how to get in shape. So long story short, coming up in my childhood, I was pretty much made fun of a lot because I was kind of big. So through grammar school, high school, college, I was picked on my entire life. So fat jokes, I heard that a lot. You know, I remember I used to try to wear really tight clothes to try to look slimmer, but it never worked. Guys used to talk about my man boobs and stuff like that. And of course, that'll kind of mess with your mental health as you come up. It'll make you insecure. You know, you're looking at yourself, you start to really question yourself a lot. So leading up to 2014, I got into a relationship, and this person accepted me for who I was. So after really learning that she really liked me for who I was, I really stopped caring about the gym more because I figured like, okay, I got somebody that liked me. So I just really focused on a lot of work, building a business. I was doing valet parking at the time. I ended up opening up a company, 2012. I actually had a child by this person. And long story short, I was deep in love, wanted to get married, and then found out that this person just played me, basically. You know, and when I found out, of course I was hurt, but I wanted to know why. So me finding out why led to the same reason. One of the biggest insecurities was my weight. So I guess from me getting bigger and bigger, I wasn't attracted.
So that was kind of like the catalyst.
That was the catalyst.
So you found out that the relationship ended up fizzling out, and it turned out to be one of your insecurities in your weight.
Big time. So just imagine like something coming to hunt you again, even when you're adult.
Leading to heartbreak.
Exactly. So at that point, I was just shook, and I was like, you know what? This is going to continue to hunt me because I don't like it. And then just imagine if people continue to remind you of it, you know. So in 2014, I seen this guy actually. He lived in the building where I provide services at. His name was Stan. He was a PE teacher. And one day I just finally reached out to him, and I was telling him like, hey, you know, I know you're a personal trainer. I don't care how much it costs, but I want to get in shape. So push come to shove, he gave me his contact. We talked. We met a date. And as we was walking to the gym, it was the craziest thing in the world. He was walking and he was getting to know me, and he was like, man, you successful. You got a valet business. You live down the street in South Loop. You know, what makes you want to get in shape? And when I told him the story that I just told you guys, he felt so bad. We got in front of the gym, and he said, you know what? I'm not even going to charge you. You know, that's fucked up what happened. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to help you lose 100 pounds. We're going to do it in 6 months. All I need you to do is be at the gym at 3:30, follow my meal plan, and we're going to get it done. In 6 months in 2014, I lost 100 pounds. In 6 months.
So that's my math. That's what, like 15-ish pounds a month?
Pretty much. Yep.
And so what prompted you, were you at kind of, what ultimately prompted you to say, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually make this leap? Because I would imagine there were countless times in your head where you were like, all right, this is the day I get in shape. This is the day I start working out. Mm-hmm. And it probably didn't happen. Yep. Or you did it for a couple days and then it was, I'm going back to my old kind of habits or my old self.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? The PE teacher himself just having that kind of like set agenda? Because I kind of think about it similar to therapy, working on your mental health. Is it's like a weekly reminder of like, I need to work on this, and you're kind of held accountable that way.
Yeah. You know what I think it was? I think it was the pain overall, not just the breakup. I think just going through childhood when you got family members, maybe like your father and people around you continuously calling you a fat ass or keep reminding you of it. And then when you finally get grown and even be successful to a point where you would think money will cover it all up, it still isn't enough because that pain is still there. When you get out of the shower, you're looking at an image that you don't like, which is yourself. So I was kind of thinking of it like, no matter what, I kept falling off before that, but I was like, this is going to continue to hunt me. I was always having it in my mind that, what happened if I meet somebody else and they hit it again? And that was a hard trigger point.
So,
you know?
had you attempted to quote unquote get in shape prior to meeting with this PE teacher? And like, how many times would you say you attempted it and then failed?
I would say I got a membership in 2010, and I would continually I would keep trying, and I would fall off. And then my significant other didn't care about fitness at all. So imagine if you're trying to diet, but you got somebody eating McDonald's or White Castle, so they don't want to cook, and they draw you into that. So it's just like, okay. And then you're so comfortable because that person probably like you for who you are, but they're not even motivating you to go to the gym. So it's kind of like, you know.
And then on the flip side, with the coach, the personal trainer, 6 months, 100 pounds. I can't imagine like you could have stumbled at any point in those 6 months. Like maybe you stumbled here and there a day or two, but a lot more consistent, I'd say. Can you speak to like what that 6 months was like from a consistency standpoint?
Actually, I got to give credit to the coach himself because he really held me accountable. I mean, going to the gym 5 days a week at 3:30 every day when you're going with your coach and he's pushing you and kicking your ass in the gym, man, that's A1 right there. I mean, most people would fall off because they probably don't train enough with their coach, or they're going through things in life. They don't have anybody to hold them accountable. You know, like these online coaches these days, like what are they doing? And you see a program everywhere now. Every influencer is a trainer. Every influencer is a nutritionist. You know, they do the same plans and just pass them out. But are they really holding all these hundreds and thousands of people accountable? No.
And these people eat it up, right? Because it's easier. It's easier to say, okay, I'm doing it, and look, I'm getting an online coach.
Exactly.
Like that's easier for the consumer. And that's why they're so popular now, is because people are eating it up. But at the end of the day, it doesn't sound like it's providing the same results that going to someone like yourself in person.
And looking at the person that you're getting coached by and being inspired by their physique. Now, my coach Stan, this dude's physique was like insane. He looked great. So every time I seen him, I'm like, man, I want to look like that. And one thing I like about him, he didn't just get me in the gym, kick my ass, make me sweat. He attacked here. So what he had me do, he was like, you know what? I want you to look at some athletes, maybe some bodybuilders, and I want you to find a physique that you like, and I want you to send it to me. And that's the goal we're kind of going to shoot for. So I'm like, man, and one of the people that I always looked up to in the fitness industry was Simeon Panda. Do y'all know Simeon Panda?
I don't.
Oh, you gotta look him up. He has a great physique, but he's pure motivation. He talks motivation. I'm like, I sent this to him, and instead of him saying like, oh, maybe we can get to that, he's like, we can achieve that more. So he would always attack my mindset. Like I would always sometimes, as I was losing weight, I'd go out on the weekend sometimes. And then he'd get in my mindset again and was like, hey, you're drinking, this is going to set us back. And this and that. So he was always on top of me no matter what. And it was like I can also share things with him instead of just training. He would always give me advice outside of working out. Really, he would attack mental health a lot. Basically saying to take care of myself more than anything, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody else.
So,
you know,
accountability keeps you disciplined, you know, and
definitely.
it seemed like the moment you changed your arena, we have a theme here with our arenas here, and you changed your environment, so you went from significant other who lived a pretty unhealthy lifestyle to a personal trainer that held you accountable. Did you ever feel like it wasn't always the explicit accountability, whereas the person saying, hey, make sure you're not doing this, or hey, make sure you're doing this, but at some point you probably felt like an inherent responsibility towards that person, knowing you were going to show up every day and face them. Did you start to have like innate accountability to say, hey, I can't disappoint that guy, so I'm going to make the right decisions now?
Yes, because legit charged me. It would have been over like $3 grand. But for him to say no and take the time out of his day and go to the gym with me, I say I owe him. I owe him that. For him to even sit back and listen to my story and say, hey, I'm going to take you on for free. I'm going to actually type you up a nutrition program every week, taking more time out of his day. I'm going to make sure we get on a call every Sunday, taking more time out of his day. And then on extra days that he was off on the weekend or something, he'd still come in. So that'd be 6 days. Imagine working for 6 months and not getting paid as a trainer. Most trainers would never do that.
And I think that just goes to show that, like you said, money didn't matter to him. Money ultimately doesn't matter from that sense, but what probably gave him more fulfillment than any of that was the fact that he was able to take someone that came up to them like with courage and say, like, I'm down in the dumps for this reason, I've been shamed for this reason, and now I want to get to this place. Like, he probably took that as an opportunity to have something much more than just a normal someone that, you know, that hires him to get you physically right, but also mentally right. And I think that just goes to show, and it's something you said earlier, like, you were trying to fill this void with everything other than attacking what it was that was giving you that level of insecurity. Like, you started a successful business, you were doing the valet stuff. On the outside looking in, you're killing it, right? And people on the outside think, like, Wes, like, what's going on? Like, you're killing it. But on the inside, you're struggling because you haven't addressed the one thing that's bringing you down. And I can relate to that so much.
Yes, and you hit it right on the head, man. I was never truly happy because the things that were said to me growing up, that was like what I was like 12, 13, and then even in my late 20s, it stuck with me up to this day. And I'm not even bullshit. If somebody was to say, Wes, you looking small, it'll trigger something real bad. And you got to think about mental health. Why does if somebody say, Wes, you're too small, or your legs looking small, why does it trigger something bad? That in my head, because it's still there. It still bothers me a little bit. It's an insecurity that you really can't get over 100%. You know, people look at me and be like, man, you look like an Adonis, so-and-so, I'm looking perfect, but I'm not. In my head, I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. So just having that little piece stuck, like people's going through it now, like people are going through insecurities that you may think they got a nice car and all this other stuff, but the inside, they still hurting. You know, and certain things that you bring up will trigger that. And I've spoke to people like that. I've worked with people like that. Probably went through a dramatic childhood, right? And they probably got over it. Probably the situation is dead. But if you poke at that little wound, it still hurts.
So and we'll have to get into where you're at today. It's an impressive, like, competitive background, and I just want you to.
It's an impressive turnaround.
Yeah, and it's behind the shirt, right? So you have to be able to paint the picture for everybody listening, like where exactly you are now, and you can brag about it in a bit here. But what I'm gathering is, like, some of your motivation then is still today you're motivated.
Yes, I haven't let it go, man, because it's funny how them insecurities are taken away now, how it made me into a better man, a better father, a better person. Just when that weight came off, every month when I was seeing the weight come off, I was more motivated. I was more talkative. I was going to board meetings, like talking with a suit on because I felt comfortable because it fit and it looked good. I looked good in the mirror. And I went from having one location to having 3 now. You know, because I was able to go into like restaurants and being happy and confident, speak in front of like 10 executives with no problem, and not have in the back of my mind that people looking at me like, look at this fat guy in a suit. You know,
you freed up. Sorry, not to cut you off, but you freed up a lot of mental. Because I'm just thinking about myself. You freed up so much mental energy that you spent shaming yourself, thinking about what other people are thinking about you as you're up there, to this point where you're now confident, Wes, and I don't really give a shit because I know who I am and I know the work I put in, and now you can just be yourself and not have to and do all the things that you're talking about and not have to worry about what people are thinking about you.
You start to strip away somebody's insecurities and you build confidence, right? That person is going to be powerful. Every time their confidence get up there, they're going to be more powerful, better. You're going to see them elevate. But the minute insecurity start coming in hard, that person, no matter, they go to church every day, people around them, they're going to be stagnant. And they're going to probably go lower and lower and lower. So I started to see my life, the better I was looking, and I know that probably sound like, oh, wow, the better he's looking. But the better I was looking, the more confidence I had, the better I felt. And honestly, when them insecurities was taken away and I was able to look in the mirror and smile at myself, that made me want to become a personal trainer. Because I wanted to take them insecurities away. The people that's being made fun of, all the people out there that get made fun of being too skinny or too fat, that's walking around being shamed, because a lot of them in the gym, you know. I want to be a personal trainer to take them insecurities away, because I know once you get them somewhere, I don't care if it's 10 pounds, I don't care if it's 20 pounds, they're going to feel better about themselves, and they're going to be better and better in life.
You're speaking to me so like vividly, like so clearly, because it's funny how a lot of people find their purpose and their passion through their darkest times and getting through it. And now, like, because I think about, for me, like, I love fitness, I love staying in shape, but it's not like a sense of my purpose doesn't come from fitness, because I never had those insecurities. I never worked through those. I was always, you know, it's more of a hobby and something that I like to do. But for you work through what was your ultimate form of shame, and you turned it into a place of, now I want to help these people because I know what they've been through. I've been there before. And that's why we started the podcast, at least for me, is because I struggled with mental health and I didn't know where to go. And if I had someone to talk to, it would make the world. And now, you know, that's kind of how I'm trying to do it, is like people are listening to stories and hopefully getting inspired to talk, you know, to their loved one or whomever about it and kind of work through those. So I think it's beautiful how that, and it's such a common thing that we've seen with our guests, is you turn the place of your biggest insecurity and your sufferings into your passions. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did.
And passion is a good word, but like a core value, right? Like, would you say, because that has been a theme with the people we've talked to, like, I want to be really wealthy, right? Because they understand how the problems and the pain of not having money or financial issues, right? So physical health is likely a passion of yours, would you agree?
Big time, yep.
What other passions might you have, or core values, I should say?
What I really want to do, man, is where I come from the south side of Chicago, which is really bad. And I grew up and we really didn't have anything. I got 4 siblings, my mom and dad. We grew up in pretty much the really darkest areas in Chicago. Gun violence, I've came out to an alley before to take out my garbage and seen dead bodies. I witnessed some of my boys get shot right in front of me and died. Went to a really bad high school, grammar school as well. And one of my biggest goals when I made it out was one of the biggest goals. If you look at the rappers from Chicago, they always talk about getting out. And the people that never lived in these bad neighborhoods, they can't really feel what we feel and really see poverty. You drive past like 35th and you keep going, you're going to start seeing stuff change. You know, and I grew up in that. And one of my passions, now that I'm a business owner and I can actually take care of my family and I actually see how it feels to have a little income, I want to go back on the south side, west side, and provide services where it's like a center where I can give them knowledge how to be a business owner. People that dropped out of school because they was probably getting jumped on or bullied half the time. Half the time I didn't want to be in school because I was steady getting bullied. I was literally getting robbed at school.
Can you talk a little, because I know he can't relate to that at all, and coming up from that upbringing, did you ever get caught up in, you know, the gun violence, or more just maybe some of like, or were you able to kind of separate yourself from that? And if so, like, how were you able to do that? How were you able to kind of see a clear head? Because I think from what it sounds like, a lot of people get kind of caught on the wrong side of things. Yeah. And you said you quote unquote made it out. Like, how did you do that? Was it through support with your family? Like, what kind of drove that?
Now I got caught up in it before, and I was a part of it again. I was a black disciple. And a lot of people don't even know why guys join gangs. It's because of protection. You know, if you walk around the hood, man, and you're a neutron, you're going to get robbed every day, and it's all type of stuff. So I joined the gang just for protection, protect over my family. And what really helped me make it out is I knew that I had to, number one, education. We all talk about education, but is education going to move you out of the hood? No. So I had to really find like a really good job and then be around more successful people. So when I first got my job doing valet parking in 2006, realistically, I'm going to be totally real with everybody on here, that was my first time ever like being downtown as a black man. I was never downtown. And honestly, it's my first time being around, and I'm going to say it, quote unquote, white people in 2006. Never seen them, because you don't really see them on the south side where I'm at. So being in that environment, and doing valet parking, now I was around nothing but somewhat successful people that seen things and had cars, had money, and then becoming friends with them, and they accepted me for who I am. Now I got some education now, and they was teaching me things that I've never even learned in school. So being around them instead of hanging in the streets with, I hate to say, a lot of my friends that was up to no good, to half of them are locked up now, then I start learning. You give a person that really don't have a lot of education, you give them education and knowledge, and if they really absorb it, they're going to start taking off. So really being around them, learning, I was like, man. And then I was working, making some good money. So after that, I actually took a course in Robert Morris, a business course. And actually my prior company, before I started mine, paid for it because I ended up getting like a manager position. And
So you mentioned, building some sort of relationships with the people that you were around the valet business.
Mhm.
Just curious, like, what traits of your own made that possible? Because you could have easily shown up, put your head down, not interacted with people. Or is there like a likability about you? Is there a communication strength of yours? Is it kindness? Is it comedy? What did you bring to that table where they said, hey, I'll take an interest in this person. I find them somewhat unique. I'll entertain a conversation with them. Right? Because valet oftentimes is like, here are the keys.
And they go.
I don't want to talk to you, right?
I was really strong at, I was really funny. I'm still not funny. And I'm a people's person, man. I can sit there with about 5 minutes with a person, never knew him, and start talking to him, and they'd be like, damn, I like this guy. And I would sit there outside while the customer was waiting on their car. I just start to spark up a conversation. I was like that since college and since grammar school. People really never paid me no attention because I was like the fat boy. But finally being around people that really listened to me and liked it, after the conversation, the car came up. People was like, hey, let me give you my card, man, so. So I was just really good with people, communicating. I make them laugh, and I just started telling them my story, where I'm from, what I'm trying to do, and we had just become friends.
What do you think? What do you think, personality-wise, it was like? What do you think? It sounds like I think of like charismatic, like a charisma to you that you're able to connect with someone in just a short few minutes. Like, what about it? What do you think it is?
Charisma. I've heard it a lot from certain people. I didn't know. I always just thought I was an upfront person that was real cool. But every time I talk to people, they like, it's a charisma. It's just something that you have for talking to people and opening up and really like listening to people. I was real good at listening to people all the time. I was that friend that if you called me on the phone going through something, I would actually sit down and listen and give you my feedback. But my goal was always genuine, and still now, is to always try to make people feel better. Whatever darkest moments they going through, not trying to feed them shit either, because you can just tell people anything. But honestly, try to make them feel better, because I didn't have that. I really didn't have a shoulder to cry on. My thing was meditation. I would always pray to God. I'd turn out all the lights, I'd smoke some weed, and I'd just pray. Sometimes cry in the dark. So I never really had nobody to talk to. So I think that was my biggest strength. If I ever see somebody going through something, like say if you was one of my clients, he was talking to me and you sound down, I always try to find out what's going on and try to make you feel better. Because if you feel better, for some reason, if I make somebody feel better, I feel better. I feel like God gave me that gift.
I think people are just naturally inclined or more attracted to other people that can listen. You know?
Yeah, and being present. That sounds like what you are. You're just present. You're there for the conversation. You're not on your phone. You're not thinking about 4 other things. You're just listening to people and you're being yourself. And because you feel confident that you can be, you feel confident in yourself. Like I bet Wes, that was 100 pounds heavier, probably wasn't being called charismatic as much as you are now. Which I think is great. And I have a question around, like, you had mentioned that, is it Stan?
Yeah.
Stan, like, he attacked here, he attacked mentally.
Yep.
Do you now bring that into, which it sounds like you kind of do, to how you train? Like you just kind of mentioned, if you see something kind of off with a client, you'll kind of poke at it, or like, what's going on? Like what?
I'm always trying, I see the greatness into people. Maybe, I know that sounds like cliche, but like, for example, I was training a client today. First time ever training her. I trained her son. And I noticed one thing she would always bring up, like, I fell off a couple times and so and so, and I immediately and say, like, you know what, everybody falls off. It's all about getting back up. It looks like you come in here every day for a reason. You come in the gym every day because I see her. you're trying to achieve a goal. You can easily be upstairs not doing anything. You're here because you're trying to achieve a goal. And then the back of your mind, it's doubt. That's what you need to get rid of right away. I think every human being, including myself, we always got this little thing in the back of our doubt. Whatever you're going to do, I want to make this podcast blow up, but, and we need to stop saying but, and just figure out a way, let me get it done. And when I told her that, she just blew up. And I said, you say you want to build your legs up, you want to drop your body fat percentage. Don't say but. You have the sources to do it. Let's just do it. It's going to be hard. You know, it's going to be some speed humps. Keep getting back up, run over the speed humps, and let's just keep working. I could have actually lost 100 pounds, been happy, and just stopped. But I didn't, because I wanted to keep going because I wasn't satisfied. And then I want to keep on motivating people and telling my story.
And it's about the journey, right? It's not about, like, you're never going to be satisfied because you're living present. You're just enjoying the process of becoming a better person and fulfilling your fitness dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a story of, like, a most fulfilling client or someone that you've been able to really turn around? You don't have to, like, name names for privacy or confidentiality, but is there anyone that comes to mind that maybe came in that wasn't doing so well and you feel like you were able to, like, completely transform them?
Yes, man. It was a teacher. She was I think third grade teacher. I won't say her name, but she was telling me how the kids would make fun of her because she was pretty big. And she said, I come to work, I love kids, and it was 3 kids out of the class would always say, like, Mrs. Spark, you have 3 stomachs. Every time she would stand up, and she said it made her so insecure she never wanted to walk to the board and make anything because she would always either suck her stomach in or she didn't want the kids to say anything. And I was listening to this and I felt, you know, of course I can relate to
that hit.
You know, and
deep.
as she was telling me that she just started balling up. You know, she couldn't even finish the sentence. And it made me damn near tear up. And she was sitting there and I was like, something would stand there. You know what? I was like, how devoted are you? If I was to tell you I need 5 to 6 months, maybe 7 months to actually help you lose weight, how would that make you feel? She's like, I will feel amazing. I will feel good about myself. I will actually be a better teacher. So that was the first and ever, up to this day, client that I've ever trained and coached for free. Now, this is the cool thing about this story. I've never physically trained her in person. It was all online. All I did was her nutrition program and her training. And within actually 7 months, she had lost like 72 pounds. You know, and that was my first time actually seeing somebody's physique go from here to like here, and she looked amazing. She would come to school, all the kids would be shocked. All the kids would say she looked like a different human being. You know, and the way she was thanking me and how good she feels, she would never post. She had like 1 picture on like Facebook and Instagram. Now she got like over 1,000. She's posting her story. That confidence is up there. And the last time we spoke, we was gonna do like another program. And I told her, like, you know what? I watch you every morning on social media. You get up, you make your shake, you cook. I think going forward, where do you think you at? Don't you feel like it's a lifestyle now? And she said, yeah. So I said, going forward, I will always be here to support, but I think you got it from here. And not only did she continue, but now she got her close friend doing it. That was kind of overweight. Now she got her mom doing it. Now she got her little tribe of people at that whole school. Now she has like a little program at the grammar school for the PE teacher that she's in charge.
That's awesome.
So,
You know?
and I love that question of like, do you feel like this is a lifestyle now? Because to me, lifestyle is a process, right?
Yes.
Results is the destination.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like she came in, she had a destination in mind. I no longer want to have a size where I'm being called out for the stomachs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a destination in mind when you were trying to get in shape? And then, like, at what point did it become, okay, I've reached the so-called destination, or maybe I haven't reached the destination, but I've fallen in love with the process.
Yeah,
And now that becomes my lifestyle, and now the destination doesn't even matter.
At first, it was a destination because it was out of pain.
Right.
It was out of revenge, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get in shape, and I'm gonna make everybody who made fun of me, I'm gonna make them feel like shit. That was my mindset at first, and I remember
Proving them wrong.
exactly. And I remember my mentor Stan was like, "You're never gonna go anywhere because now it's not personal. This is to prove people wrong. And he's like, you got to get out of that mindset and do it for you. You doing it for you. You losing weight to help your confidence, to make yourself feel better. Get out of it. And then, realistically, when I got out of that mindset, then it was more so of a lifestyle. I let it go. And then, of course, every month that I seen results, it made me more in love with it. And then when I started getting in the gym and I started getting in the girl, I'm like, man, I really like this. It was like literally a routine to a point if I missed today, I felt bad. I truly, like, up to this day, I love going to the gym. I love training. I love everything about it. You know, so once I got out of that mindset of proving people wrong and just saying, this is for me. You know, this is what I want to do for myself. I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people to make themselves better and just really, really take their wellness serious because, I mean, we all learned through COVID, right?
And that's why I'm like so passionate about the idea of a destination, and you can equate it to maybe setting goals. And I understand the power in setting goals, but to me, a destination, it's like perhaps in that third grade teacher's mind, she had a destination, but it sounds like where she's at today is way beyond that. Sounds like at one point you had a destination in mind. Sounds like because you've adopted the process in your lifestyle, you're probably way beyond the destination you ever dreamed of for yourself, right? And that's my whole thing is like, if you have a destination in mind, that's fine. But fall in love with the process and understand that like your maximum capacity is going to take you far and beyond that destination.
Yes.
I think you almost have to live it. You almost have to, because like when you're kind of first starting off, you almost have to have a destination to then realize that it's about the journey, that it's about the process. Because like I thought about it too, like it's like you want to hit X% by, X% body fat by this date. And then you realize whether you get there or not, it's like, okay, now what?
Yep.
And so I think you need to almost have the destination to start. And in doing that, you kind of realize, or at least for me, it sounds like you as well, that it's really about the process and the lifestyle that you're creating and not so much about the destination, because that's really never ending. And that's kind of setting a limit on yourself when, I mean, you're probably fitness-wise in places you never thought you could be.
Oh, man. Oh, tell me about it, man. I mean, and that's one of the reasons I got into competing, honestly.
So, yeah, where are you at today? Like, give some of your accolades, brag about yourself a little bit. I love all that stuff, so.
Okay, yeah. So, like, for example, once I actually lost the weight and I kind of got complacent a little bit. I was just going to the gym and whatever else. So I wanted something to push me. So long story short,
I need to hear this. Because that's kind of where I'm at now.
I walked in the gym one day. I will never forget that. Now this is after the journey of staying there. Now he kind of stepped out, man, because after that he was at a point where he was saying I should get a certification, which I did in 2015. So going through 2015, I got my cert. I walked in the gym one day and I seen this guy. He had to be like in his 50s, and now I thought, no disrespect to Stan, but I thought he looked good. But then I seen this guy in his 50s. He looked like wasn't even human. He looked that good, and I didn't never in my life seen a physique like that, like 4% body fat, shredded, and I was like, what is this? So I kindly asked him, like, hey man, are you like what are you, a trainer? He was like, no, I'm a competitor. I compete bodybuilder. I didn't even know what that was. So as I kept talking to him about it, literally as soon as he got done breaking it down within 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I want to do that. And he completely shut me down, turned me down. I will never forget that. And I was like
how so?
Basically, I was like, I want to get into it, and how much you charge for coaching? He was like, I'm telling you, I think you need to do some research before you come to me because it's something different. So I was like, so are you going to coach me? Like, I won't coach you until you do some research because it's something you need to look up. So I knew it was serious, and after looking it up and doing my research on YouTube, I was like, damn, this is fitness to a whole nother level now. And believe it or not, call me crazy. I want to do it because I want to challenge myself, because I told myself I lost the weight, lost 100 pounds, I got in shape, I got my certification. What's next? And then I was like, met back up with him and talked to him, said I did my research. And then 2017, I competed in my first show in April in DeKalb, Illinois. That was the best I've ever looked. Like I got down to 5% body fat.
How do you measure your body fat?
We actually go to the gym and did like the little scan, the head scan, the body scan, and got down to 5% body fat. Now Actually, like
How much were you weighing?
Oh, I was at 180 at the time when I first started. I was around 180, 190, and I came all the way down to about 160.
Oh.
So I was pretty peeled, man. And don't get me wrong, it was like I think a 16-week prep. It was hell. Going through it, it really humbled me because I was like, I thought losing all that weight the first time, I was like, oh, this is a challenge. That was a challenge because it really hits you here to a point where you're measuring your food out. You can't go out with your friends. If you do go out with your friends, you hold a container. Your life is just completely in a cave.
Yeah, talk about that like next level, because I can relate to you with going to the gym 6-7 days a week consistently. It's a habit, it's a routine, it's a like, you know, I'll do it in regard, you know, if I don't do it, I heard you say you like you actually feel bad. I can relate to that. But talk about that next step of like competing. Like what level of discipline, where do you have to go to get there?
Man, discipline is like times 1,000. I mean, you're measuring out your sodium, meaning like your seasoning. You're measuring out your water, your food, your carbohydrates, and then each week is getting manipulated to a point that your energy level is going to continue to suffer as you have to keep going through life. You got to keep going to work. You have to work out, meaning you going to the gym and maybe, depending on your work, 5 in the morning just to do cardio, and then coming back in the afternoon to lift because you have to do it for an amount of weeks, continuously. No cheat meal. You start losing friends because your friends are want to go out, they want to do this. You can't do that. You start having relationship problems because your girlfriend probably want to go eat or travel. You can't go. You know, I have went through periods where I lost a lot of friends. Now, luckily, in the relationship that I was in at that time, that person stuck by my side, but it was rough. You know, it was times that I literally wanted to just give up because I felt like shit. I felt like dying. And if you look up bodybuilding and the structure of it, it's not healthy. It's not healthy to bring your body down to 4 to 5% body fat. Your body actually thinks it's dying. That's what's going on. Like your body is in this emergency mode. So going through that, I mean, of course, I was looking at myself and I was getting better and better, and I think that kept me going. And I wanted to really do it, you know. So long story short, when I got through that process, and then on show day, I didn't care about winning or not. I honestly didn't care about winning or not. I was like, well, this is the best I look. You know, I did everything I was supposed to do. My mom is in the crowd. My daughter's in the crowd. The person I was dating at the time was there. I'm in DeKalb, Illinois. Hey, it's a win for me.
Like you did everything you could.
And what was so crazy, people could call it luck. I got there and I won overall.
I don't think it's luck.
No, it's not. It's falling in love with the process, and it's maximizing your effort. It's not setting a ceiling on yourself. And no, that's the furthest thing from luck. I think you earned 100% every ounce of that.
So I have a question. You had mentioned like you lost friends as you were going through this process. Looking back, are those people that were probably not better served in your life anyway? Were there like, you know, were there friendships that you wish you would have held on to, or did it kind of actually bleed out the type of people that you ultimately didn't really want to surround yourself with anyway?
Exactly. It was people that really wasn't living a healthy lifestyle. And like, honestly, like for myself, I don't drink, right? That's just what I do. I mean, if I drink, it's probably a blue moon, my birthday or something. But it was people that really, and there's nothing wrong with turning up every weekend. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But the path I was going, there's no way I can have friends like that in my circle. You know, and as I'm 34 now, I realize that it is what it is at this point now. I really want to circle around myself, around people that
Like-minded.
Exactly. And so when I did lose them friends, I didn't really care.
You probably gained some other ones that had the similar mindset.
With the same mindset. And I met a lot of these people through the fitness industry. And I noticed a lot of my friends now is through the fitness industry.
And perhaps a lot of them maybe don't drink as well.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
So all right, we live in Chicago, and if you go out and try to be social, like it's a drinking scene, like it's a drinking city, right? And I'm personally, I'm about 90 days into, I mean, I've slipped up maybe a blue moon here and there, but like I've essentially cut out drinking, and I think I'm in that moment right now where my social circle, my environment itself is like revolved around drinking. what do you do in your social life? Like, besides, I mean, I get it that it's fun to lift and work out, but there's got to be something else other than
I get
right?
that question, man. Honestly,
I need answers. I need to take notes.
This is going to sound very. So honestly, I don't have a lot of friends, and that's cool because as I got older, I realized you're not gonna have a lot of friends. You know, when we was younger, we was like, yeah. Thank God that the girl that I'm with now, my girlfriend Paulina, hey, pal, we really, I found somebody that's truly passionate in fitness the same amount as me. You know, not saying that she doesn't drink and I just don't drink, but we understand our goals. We understand what we want to do. As far as just looking good, right? We actually want to live the lifestyle for real. We actually want to train people. I mean, we actually want to help people better their lifestyle. She's a trainer. I'm a trainer. And going into your question about what do I do, the friends that I'm with, they already know me already. You know what I mean? They already pretty much know, like, Wes is probably not going to.
So if you're going to go out, if they're going out, they're not asking you because they know the answer.
Yeah, they already know, you know. And I hang out with some friends and trainers that drink, but they respect my standard, and that's why I respect them. Now, it is people that I've hung out with before, and they try to peer pressure me, right? Oh, have a drink. Have a drink. I'm going to say this on this podcast. When people do that, 9 times out of 10, I don't hang with them anymore. Because I've always said, man, if a person don't want to do something, you should never peer pressure them doing it. You should respect what they're trying to do. And that's what happened to a lot of people. A lot of my clients, they always say, when we do check-ins, oh, I messed up. You know, I went out and I had some drink with my friends. I say, okay, did you tell your friends that you were the trainer and you died? And yes, I did. And I say, they still want you to drink? They say, yeah. I say, they're not your friends. Let's be real now. If you had one of your friends or your best buddies and they say, hey, I'm on this journey, man. I'm trying to really lose some weight. I'm not trying to drink. Are you really going to peer pressure? Oh, man, have a drink. It won't hurt you. You a fake if you do that. So I always tell my clients, I say, honestly, I don't care how long you knew this person. I hate to say it, they're not your friend. Your friend's supposed to support you 1,000%, unless you're doing some fucked up shit.
And it sounds like you were able to set boundaries,
yes.
Which is, I think, really hard. That's probably why you get that a lot of like, oh no, I slipped up, I had a couple drinks. It's because it's hard to set boundaries. It's hard to disappoint people. But to your point, if they are true friends and they actually want what's best for you, they're going to support you.
Yeah.
And maybe they are disappointed because they don't get to see you as much, but that's okay. If again, like you said, if they're a good friend, you'll figure out other times to spend time with them. I mean, there's a lot of activities that don't involve drinking.
Yes.
And I've got go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, for the people that's watching, because I'm sure everybody goes through this, just remember that people don't see your vision, right? I don't see your vision. I don't see your vision. So people might think you crazy. As long as you're able to see that vision, stick with it. Because regardless of what you're doing, people are going to judge you. I can probably be one of the healthiest people walking around. People are going to find a way to judge me regardless, you know, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't get under my skin because I know my vision. I see it. It's right there, and I'm getting closer and closer to it. You know, and when you're that locked in on your goals and your purpose in life, you're gonna care less about what anybody had to say. That's exactly why my circle is this small. You know, seriously.
I mean, it's been a theme of like the weirder you are, the less people. You can't please everybody, right? But the weirder you are, the more dedicated to yourself that you are.
Yes.
And you know, to get to the level that you've gotten to win bodybuilding competitions, to have the transformation that you've had, to be at a mental happiness or a mental state where you're a lot happier. That's a true dedication to yourself, and it forced you to really make some sacrifices on, you know, probably areas of your life now that you deem lower value anyway.
I like that word, sacrifices, because people don't know how to make sacrifices to be successful, and that's with all aspects. That's just not even with fitness, right? Like, if you want to be the successful business owner that you want to do, whatever you want to do, you are going to make sacrifices. You are going to lose sleep. You are going to lose friends. That's just going to happen. But at the end, if you do it right, you're going to look back and say, I'm glad I did that.
And you know you have the vision.
Yep.
So you know why you're doing it. You're not just doing it because you saw a motivational TikTok that says get up at 4 a.m. every day and you're going to be back. Like, there has to be a driving force behind what you're doing. And I think if you're able to do that, the sacrifices are worth it. And I have a question around so the level of discipline that it took to get to 5% body fat, just to be a body, right, to compete. Has that discipline like flowed into other parts of your life, whether it's with relationships, family, friends, work? Like, has that kind of taught you has that helped you in other parts of your life?
It did. It really taught me, competing taught me the real discipline of what nutrition. Because before competing, I would eat out, I would mess up a couple times. But competing really made me stick to like what I was eating and what I was doing my plan 100%, because I knew you knew if you fucked up that you was probably going to lose that show, or you was going to get up there and embarrass yourself. And that was one of the biggest things for me. I was like, you know what, win or lose, I want to get up here and be able to say I gave it my 100%. So if I lost, I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna be happy because my family gonna be happy, my friends gonna be happy because I gave it my 100%. So competing really showed me how to stick to my diet. I've never went to a club celebrating my friend's birthday, and while everybody's eating like pizza and drinking, I go up underneath the table and I got my Tupperware, and I'm sitting there, and of course I look weird because everybody's eating it, chicken wings in it, and I'm just sitting up here eating my Tupperware food. So if I'm able to do that at a public place with nothing but alcohol, nothing but unhealthy foods, I said, damn, this sport ain't that bad because it teaches you discipline.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you look weird, but we're gonna start a new thing now. We're gonna call that insanely interesting.
I like that.
I think you become insanely interesting.
I was thinking the same thing. We talked about this last show.
Yeah, if you're sitting at a table in the nightclub,
Right.
You pull up Tupperware of chicken. I'm interested. I'm really interested in what you have going on in your life versus the 100,000 people all drinking the same thing, eating the same thing.
The people that are going to come up to that table are going to come up to you. Because you, at the end of the day, what's got you doing this? And then you can tell your story or whatever it is, and maybe something that you say resonates with them, and you actually build a real connection versus, everyone else that's doing the same thing and having the same type of conversation.
And let me tie it even one step further, because what gets unseen is the amount of leadership in that. Because ultimately, Wes, I promise you, there's somebody else at that table that deep down they want to be that person. They want to be on that journey. They want to be accomplishing something in that direction. And they're just not at a place yet where they feel confident enough, where they've fully dedicated themselves enough to bring them into the position that you brought yourself in. And so you are leading by example. And I want to make sure that as we have these conversations, we're always pointing out areas of leadership. And
I appreciate that.
Just understand that even when you're not trying, even when you're focusing on yourself, sometimes that's when you're teaching the best lessons, and that's ultimately, and sometimes when you can be having the greatest impact on people.
And that's an extreme compliment. Like I got called a leader the other day, and it was like, really?
I feel good hearing that.
But it's like you're not doing it. You're just being you. You're just doing you, and you hear that, and it's like, wow. Like you take a step back. Maybe I am, but all I've done is be myself. Like you don't need to pretend to do this or pretend to do that or showcase anything. Like you're just being you. And by being you're being a leader. So I guess we're going to tie it up, but I have a question just kind of coming full circle. Like what advice do you give to people that are either have started their fitness journeys and struggling to see results, or are just kind of struggling to get started, like want to get started but just can't get themselves, or they do it for a day and kind of stop?
Here's what I would say to the people that start their fitness journey. I would say make a vision board, right? Make a vision board and get a good vision in your head of how you want your physique to look, because you need a plan. If you just look at fitness and say, I just want abs, I just want chest and shoulder, that's not fitness, that's not a vision. So you should make a vision board of how you want to look. Maybe find somebody that's similar with the same physique. Maybe cut their head off, or whatever. Put that on that board. Now you have somewhat of a plan, right? Number 2, I hate to say this, but your circle counts. Your circle is your influence. So if your circle is it's nothing but partying, drinking, and eating, and not living a healthy lifestyle, I promise you won't go anywhere. I promise you, because you're going to continue to get sucked in. If you're doing well for like 3-4 days, that influence around you is going to be like taking you here and here. Try to surround yourself with people with the same somewhat mindset. You don't have to have the same goals, but try to be around people that's going to be like, hey, I'm doing cardio in the morning. You want to join? Instead of saying, hey, later on, we getting drinks. I'd rather go with the person that's going to be doing cardio. And last but not least, you need help within this fitness industry. Unless you have a certification in nutrition and personal training, YouTube will not help you. I guarantee you. And that's like the new trend now. We see these guys and they say, let me show you how to build a chest, but don't even break down anatomy. They just picking up dumbbells and not really teaching you nothing. Then you got the youth out here be like, oh, I watch so-and-so. No, get you a mentor. Get you a personal trainer. Find somebody that actually know things about fitness and know the anatomy behind it, and go ahead and get that help, because I guarantee you, you're going to get out there and you're going to waste 2 years. You're going to waste a year. I wasted a year before just going to the gym, doing whatever, touching machines, looking like a clown. Right after the workout, I was going to eat White Castle because I didn't have any education until I got a mentor. So don't even waste some years. Get some help. Get some help. And then the lastly thing that's going to just go ahead and take this whole podcast out is to really believe into yourself. Yeah. Really believe into yourself, man. Look in the mirror. I don't care whether you're getting up, you're waking up, look in the mirror and say, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this to impress her. I'm not trying to look better than him. I'm doing this for me. And once you realize that you're doing it for yourself, you will achieve them goals. You do them 4 things, you got it.
Love that, Wes. On number 3, if somebody listens to this and they feel like you really resonated with them, like, where can they find you and reach out to you? Because I know you're a personal trainer, and if somebody ever wanted to get in touch, how could they find or get in touch?
They can actually, you get on Instagram. My handle is Mr. Wes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show. We'll put it in the show so people can see it.
You can find me on Instagram. If you come to Lifetime, River North in Chicago, you will see me up in there. I'm there. But I feel free for anybody that want to reach out to this podcast. I'm always willing to help people with words of knowledge or whatever else. So Instagram, Lifetime, that's what I'm at.
And I think what stuck with me out of those 4 you said was number 2, or that's had the biggest change in my life, is surrounding yourself with like-minded people, because I think you are a product of your environment, and look, like, you can still do it if you're around an environment where these people are maybe pressuring you to do stuff that wouldn't align with your goals, but it is 100 times harder to achieve it when you're getting pulled in the wrong direction constantly, and constantly having to make that decision and make the unpopular decision. Whereas if you surround yourself with like-minded people, you're gonna win because it's so much easier, because you're not having to make those decisions. Those decisions are already made for you. We're going to do cardio. We're going to do this. We're not going to go out. Whatever it is, it becomes so much easier. So I think number 2 for me, really hit home. So we're going to wrap up here. We've got 3 rapid fire questions for you.
That's good.
So, and actually you can provide if there's any sort of background behind why you say what you say, feel free to give it. The first question is just what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, or just your favorite quote, something that's really resonated with you?
The best advice I received was, one of my favorite quotes. Let's just go off that. One of my favorite quotes was, anything is possible because it's been done before. That was one of my favorite quotes, because it got me at first when I first heard it, but it's true.
Just got me now.
You see what I'm saying? Anything is possible because it's been done, unless you're the first person that done it. So that really helped me out a lot, because I was always saying that I'd never be able to compete because I got a bad shoulder because my AC joint was knocked out. I got it done. I did it. So I will always say, people said I wasn't going to be able to start a business because I was from the south side of Chicago, Inglewood. I started a business.
Yeah.
So that was one of them, and people should always remember that anything is possible. I know it's cliche, but anything is possible because it's been done.
A lot of the most cliche quotes are the most true at the end of the day. Number 2, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
It would be Simeon Panda, because I looked up to him for so many years, and I used to watch all his YouTube videos, all his Instagram stuff, and he was the first person I put on my vision board in 2015. I've always looked up to him and still look up to him, and I wish one day I could meet him.
If he's sitting right across from you, what would you say?
Oh man, I would definitely say let's get a lift in.
That's part of your bodybuilding. Yeah. So you're gonna bring your Tupperware and chicken to that dinner.
Yes, sir.
All right. So last question, and you kind of maybe already touched on it, but outside, or what are your hobbies? What do you like to do outside of work, you know, in your free time?
I love traveling.
Okay.
I love traveling, and then wherever I go, it's a must. And it's all down my Instagram. Wherever I travel, I'm going to go to the top gyms. Wherever I go. And it's funny because literally people, when I travel, people always DM me and say, are you really traveling and going to gyms? Even though I still enjoy myself as sightseeing, but it's a thing for me. Traveling and hitting all
That's what you enjoy.
Yes, I
I still work out when I go. Now, I don't search out for the top gyms,
Yep.
but I make it a point to still work out just because that's what you enjoy doing.
What's the top gym to go see in the country?
Oh, I would say this, and I know a lot of people are going to agree, right? I went to California. I went to Gym Addicts. Gym Addicts is what C.T. Fletcher, that's his gym.
Okay.
You know, that was the first gym he opened. I've always wanted to go to that gym because all the greats was there, and he has all the paintings of everybody there. Simeon Panda, I mean, everybody you can name into that gym. And actually, my last trip that I just came from, me and my girlfriend, we went out there to California, not Santa Monica. What is the other one? It's in my head. Not San Fran.
L.A., Malibu,
No, I'll keep going.
Orange County,
Oh,
San Diego.
San Diego. Went to San Diego, and then I told her, like, we have to go to Gym Addicts. And believe it or not, where we were staying at, it was 2 hours away, and we drove there.
That's
And
dedication.
and
How was it?
It was definitely worth it. I was like, and one thing about Gym Addicts, he's never changed none of the equipment because he always said since all the legends touched that equipment, he left it there. So everything is the same. So I did a video there. I worked out, and I said, okay, I was one of the people that touched these machines with everybody else. So I feel like I really hit my bucket list doing that.
That's cool. That's awesome. Hey, well, thanks, Wes, so much for coming on, for having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We really enjoyed it. And again, thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. Again, Wes Patterson. I'll drop his Instagram down below and in our kind of content that we post throughout the week if you want to contact him about anything fitness or just personally. So thanks all. See you next week.
Thanks, man.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.